WSTKS-FM Worldwide, digital collaborative learning for the 21st century. Hello everyone, it's Professor Schwartz yet again with another mug of coffee and good old Onyx the cat lazing across the desk to my right. You know, it occurs to me that we've worked together for an entire semester, and yet you don't know very much about me given the hybrid modality of this particular course. That said, I thought it might be fun to share just a bit about who I am in normal life when I'm not dressed in my colorful superhero costume. So relax for a few minutes, put up your feet, and we'll get started in just a moment. Who is Professor Schwartz? I guarantee you'll be surprised, a bit shocked, and maybe even appalled. Stay tuned. The first thing most people don't know about me is that I returned to school when I was almost 26 years old as a non-traditional returning adult student. I decided to do that after several years of managing the dairy department in a supermarket, and finally decided that I wanted a more interesting future for myself as an eventual university professor. So in August 1992, I enrolled in the local community college, eventually transferring to the mighty University of Wisconsin-Madison 2 years later. There, I finished my bachelor's degree and completed a master's program before time spent as a Fulbright scholar in Norway. I wound up in a PhD program at the University of Minnesota before taking a series of college teaching positions, which included 2 at different community colleges in Illinois, plus a couple of small liberal arts universities, before eventually finding my way to Michigan State in the fall of 2015. The second thing that most people don't know about me is that I am a rocker in disguise, admittedly an aging one at this point, but still skinny. Until my mid-20s, I played guitar, bass, and sang in various old-school hard rock and heavy metal bands around southeastern Pennsylvania, outside the city of brotherly love, that is, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, my hometown. It was all about big hair and tight, colorful clothing in those days, and while I had a lot of fun with my drummer buddy Donnie from high school, the fascination of playing cover tunes in clubs and dive bars began to wear off by about the time Nirvana hit the scene in the early 90s. It became necessary to rethink my approach to life then, get serious, and get back to school as outlined above. The third thing that most people don't know about me is that I paint, collect, and play with toy soldiers. Yes, and I'm so ashamed. And although I haven't made machine gun and explosion noises with my mouth in many, many years, toy soldiers, or properly speaking, historic military miniatures, have been a lifelong interest from the time that I played with green plastic army men. Since my teenage years, I have collected and painted thousands of pewter figures from the 7 Years' War and Napoleonic eras, that is, approximately the 1750s to about 1815. The figures stand about 28 to 30 millimeters tall, and it takes several months to paint and assemble large units of between 30 to 60 figures to play tabletop games amid miniature scenery like that created by model train enthusiasts. My 13-year-old son, young Master Paul, is my partner in crime with all of this, and he's always up for a game of toy soldiers with old Dad. The fourth thing that most people don't know about me is that I am also an avid cross-country skier, an activity that I've enjoyed for almost 25 years now. I learned to ski while living and studying in Norway during the late 1990s and early 2000s. Cross-country or Nordic skiing is considered the national sport in Norway, and it's a huge part of Norwegian culture that I continue to enjoy with my family every winter. My wife is an accomplished skier in her own right, and we've made it a point to school our son in the activity too. He's pretty amazing shushing through the Michigan woods and down steep, curvy hills at high speed. The last several years, I've learned all about waxing skis for optimum performance depending on snow temperature and type, while continuing to refine my own technique. Still not an expert by any stretch, I nevertheless managed to navigate my way up and down most hills, even along Black Diamond trails, without too much trouble. Winters see our family escape as much as we can to northern Michigan, the Upper Peninsula, and Lower Ontario to various Nordic skiing centers, although our favorite areas are outside of Ironwood, Frederick, and Sheboygan, Michigan.
WSTKS-FM Worldwide, digital collaborative learning for the 21st century. If you find this podcast helpful, be sure to hit like, share, and subscribe.
The fifth and final thing that most people don't know about me is that I can speak Norwegian. What's your superpower? A fascination with the language is really what was behind my decision to return to school in the early 1990s. And while my plans to become a professor of Scandinavian languages and literature didn't quite work out the way I envisioned, I nevertheless learned a lot of interesting things and had many enriching experiences along the way. All of that led eventually to Michigan State University, where I continue to enjoy both my work with undergrads and related research on digital collaborative learning. An accidental linguist, I have studied 8 world languages besides my native English to various degrees of ability. Besides both varieties of Norwegian, these include Swedish, Danish, Old Norse, Dutch, German, Spanish, and French. Next on the mental list are Italian, Hindi, or possibly even Mandarin Chinese at some point. Given the time, I enjoy conversation about all kinds of things, so why not do it in more than one language when and if the opportunity presents itself? And that brings us to the end of this special edition of WSTKS-FM Worldwide. Who is Professor Schwartz? The 5 things that not everyone knows about me. I hope you enjoyed this brief glimpse into my off-campus life. Tune in again for helpful tips, tricks, and advice based on my 25-plus years of teaching and working with thousands of undergraduates at 3 Big Ten universities across the upper Midwest of the United States. In the meantime, thank you for joining me today. I'll see you in class, online, or during Zoom office hours if you drop by with a question. Stay healthy, have a safe and a productive week. With special regards from Onyx, the cat what am. So long, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.
You've just heard a podcast from WSTKS-FM Worldwide, digital collaborative learning for the 21st century.